The confirmation came suddenly, but the weight of it was heavy. The United States has deployed troops to Nigeria to support the country's counter-terrorism war. This time, it was not speculation, leaked intelligence, or anonymous security whispers. It was openly acknowledged on Tuesday by the head of the United States Africa Command, AFRICOM, General Dagvin R.M. Anderson. His words were careful, measured, and revealing. Both Nigeria and the United States, he said, had reached a shared conclusion that existing efforts were no longer enough to confront the evolving security threats spreading across West Africa. Now, at this point, pause for a moment and consider what that really means. Two nations, after years of cooperation at arm's length, finally agreeing that the danger has grown beyond what old strategies can contain. That agreement has now been translated into action. A team of US troops is already on Nigerian soil. The journey to this moment did not happen overnight. It unfolded step by step, shaped by months of rising insecurity, shifting alliances, and increasing pressure from terrorist groups that refuse to fade away. It began quietly, with growing concerns in Washington and Abuja over the reach of extremist groups operating across Nigeria's borders. Boko Haram factions, ISWAP fighters, bandit kingpins, and kidnapping networks have continued to test Nigeria's security architecture, especially in the northeast and parts of the northwest. Villages have emptied, highways have grown tense, farmers have abandoned fields, families have learned to sleep lightly.
US President Donald Trump ordered airstrikes on what he described as Islamic State targets in Nigeria. The strikes were swift and decisive, and they sent a message far beyond the immediate damage on the ground. Trump followed it up with a warning. More American military action could follow. That warning lingered. For communities already living under the shadow of violence, it raised questions. Would the United States become more directly involved? Would this help Nigeria regain lost ground? Or would it complicate an already delicate security situation? Speaking at a media briefing, General Anderson revealed that discussions between Washington and Abuja had intensified after both sides reviewed the region's security realities. The conclusion, he said, was unavoidable. Deeper cooperation was necessary. That has led to increased collaboration between our nations to include a small US team that brings some unique capabilities from the United States, Anderson told journalists. That single sentence opened a new chapter. The AFRICOM commander refused to disclose critical details. No numbers, no timelines, no clear explanation of whether the US troops would engage in combat or strictly advisory roles. The duration of their stay also undisclosed. On the surface, that silence might feel unsettling, but from a security standpoint, it was deliberate. Nigeria's Defense Minister, General Christopher Musa, retired, later confirmed that a US team was indeed operating in the country. Like his American counterpart, he offered no specifics, no locations, no mission scope.
Now, let us look at this clearly. This silence is not confusion. It is a strategy. Security experts say withholding details is part of a broader operational model designed to deny terrorist groups any insight into government plans. Groups like Boko Haram, ISWAP, notorious bandit leaders such as Bello Tuji, and organized kidnapping networks thrive on information gaps they can exploit. Revealing troop movements or roles would only sharpen the advantage. So while the public may not know where these troops are based or what uniforms they wear, the impact is already being felt in the shadows. Another angle to this issue is the psychological effect. According to security sources, the knowledge that US and Nigerian forces are now operating jointly on ground and in the air has injected fear into terrorist camps. Precision intelligence, advanced surveillance, and coordinated strikes mean hideouts once considered safe are no longer secure.
Bello Turji, Boko Haram commanders, ISW leaders are now said to be on the move, abandoning known camps, changing communication patterns, and avoiding prolonged stays in one location. Imagine that reality from their side. For years, these groups exploited terrain, poor intelligence coverage, and slow response times. Forests offered protection, remote villages offered concealment. Now, those advantages are shrinking. From this point, we need to understand the human side of what this development represents. In a village in the northeast, a farmer hears the distant sound of aircraft and wonders if this time the threat might finally be pushed farther away. In the northwest, a mother sending her child to school pauses a little less at the doorway, praying the road ahead is safer than yesterday. Communities have reacted cautiously to the news. There is relief, yes, but also deep reflection. Some Nigerians welcome the development openly. For them, foreign support represents hope after years of grief. They have buried loved ones, paid ransoms, fled ancestral homes. To them, any credible effort to end the violence feels justified.
Others are more reserved. Questions about sovereignty are already emerging. Should foreign troops operate on Nigerian soil? What are the long-term implications? Could this create dependence, or does it strengthen local capacity? These are not wrong questions. Let's ask them directly. Can a country fight its security battles alone in a globalized world where terror networks cross borders freely? Or is cooperation the only realistic path forward? Now, picture the on-ground atmosphere. Military vehicles moving with renewed coordination. Intelligence officers working across time zones. Surveillance feeds being analyzed in real time. Pilots receiving more precise targeting data. Ground troops advancing with better situational awareness. This is where the collaboration matters most. Not in numbers, but in capability. US forces bring advanced intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance tools. Nigeria brings deep local knowledge, cultural understanding, and battle-tested troops who have endured this war for years. Together, the expectation is precision, fewer mistakes, faster responses, and reduced collateral damage.
Security analysts say that once joint operations fully commence, the impact could be significant. Airstrikes could become more targeted, ground operations more coordinated, terrorist movements more constrained. And with that, acts of terrorism, banditry, kidnappings, ransom demands, mass killings are expected to reduce drastically, if not disappear entirely. But let's pause and think carefully. Military action alone does not heal trauma. It does not rebuild destroyed homes or restore lost trust overnight. That work takes time. For victims of kidnapping who have returned home, the scars remain. For communities that have watched neighbors disappear, caution remains a survival instinct. This is why officials continue to emphasize cooperation, not confrontation, not just between nations, but between security forces and civilians. The deployment of US troops marks the first official acknowledgement of American forces operating on Nigerian soil since the December airstrikes. Symbolically, it signals a shift. Practically, it signals urgency.
Nigeria has long insisted it retains control of its security architecture. That position has not changed. What has changed is the recognition that shared threats demand shared responses. Another question worth asking: if terrorist groups operate across borders, should counter-terrorism remain confined within borders? From the Sahel to the Lake Chad Basin, extremist violence has proven contagious. Instability in one country spills into another. Arms flow freely. Fighters relocate easily. Seen from that lens, Nigeria-US cooperation is less about foreign presence and more about regional stability. Still, the debate will continue. Civil society groups will ask for transparency. Lawmakers will demand oversight. Citizens will watch closely. That scrutiny is healthy. Now, let us return to the ground reality. For soldiers patrolling dangerous corridors, this collaboration could mean better protection. For pilots flying into hostile airspace, better intelligence. For families waiting for news, perhaps fewer bad days ahead. The secrecy surrounding operational details may frustrate curiosity, but it serves a clear purpose: to keep terrorists guessing.
And that uncertainty, for once, works against them. As joint operations begin, security agencies urge citizens to remain vigilant, report suspicious movements, avoid spreading unverified information, support lawful security efforts. Let's ask another question. If peace is within reach, what role does each citizen play in protecting it? Public safety is not only about firepower. It is about awareness, trust, and collective responsibility. In the coming weeks, the effects of this partnership will become clearer. Some successes will be visible, others will remain unseen by design. But one thing is certain: Nigeria-US military relations have entered a new phase. And as communities across Nigeria watch this development unfold, hope and caution walk side by side. Hope that fewer lives will be lost, fewer children orphaned, fewer villages abandoned. Caution that peace must be gathered carefully, patiently, and collectively. The story does not end with the arrival of US troops. In many ways, it begins there. The real question now is this: how will Nigeria, with support from its partners, turn this moment into lasting security, not just military victories, but peace that ordinary people can feel in their daily lives? That answer will shape the future of communities, roads, farms, and families across the country. And for now, as operations quietly take shape behind the scenes, the nation waits, alert, hopeful, and watchful.